Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne's Sharp World, where today we are taking a look at a brand new knife, two versions of it that just dropped yesterday at this place right here, Caviso. Be sure to look them up for all of your knife and EDC needs, as well as your outdoor needs. They have a great selection of a lot of things, including these guys right here, which happens to be the Kirby Lambert Rain. Now, before I go any further into this review, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to bring you the content. Now, let's take a look at some overall specs on these beastly knives right here. What we have is an overall length of 8.2 inches, a blade length coming in at 3.5 inches, and a blade thickness of a much thicker than average 150 thousandths, a blade material of S35VN, which is a very nice steel to have on this particular blade, which we'll go over in just a second on why it's so nice to have S35 on this knife. We have a drop point style blade with a very nice, very thin Reate hollow grind. We have a handle length of 4.7 inches with a handle width of 1.19 inches, right around here on the thickest point here towards the swell of the palm. We have a handle thickness of 594 thousandths, which is definitely a little more on the slightly thicker than average side. And handle materials. This is where things get you have a lot of options to choose from. These are two of the options here. We have, it's all titanium. There's some bronze titanium, some regular stonewash titanium. You got fat carbon options. You got some very, very nice burlap micarta options. And this is just two of them. Now, I want to say there's like 5 or 6, maybe even 7 options. Really, really good variety to pick from. They're all live on the Caviso site right now, and of course, there will be a link below to check that out. As you saw, we have a bolster lock with a user of a right hand only tip-up carry, a weight coming in at 5.8 ounces, and the price. This is what's really impressive about these knives. Now, keep in mind, this is a Reate-made knife. Inflation's hit everything, but I feel like it hasn't really hit these two knives. We're looking at a price of $229. $229 for a Reate-made knife on the micarta version right here, and $259 for this version right here with American-made fat carbon. So really good value. Very, very strong value in my opinion. I don't really have any issue with the price on either one of these knives. Let's move one of them out of the way here for a second and do some quick size comparisons. So as you can see, just how big of a knife we are working with. We'll bring out a couple other relatively long knives. Here is the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, and here is the Spyderco Shaman. And as you can see, bigger, longer than the Paramilitary 2, really bigger than the Paramilitary 2 in general, and not much shorter than the Shaman. Maybe, wow, not even a quarter of an inch shorter. So very comparable in terms of length with both of these knives. And if you don't know Spyderco that well, even though you really probably should, because Spyderco is really good. Let's bring in a couple budget models. Here we have the Civivi Conspirator, and we also have the Kaiser Towser K. As you can see, lines up very well with both of those knives. So this is a bigger knife. And what's really impressive about this knife, well, there's a couple aspects, but the size of this knife, it has a way with its ergos. Now, before we get to the ergos, though, let's talk about this blade, because there are some really good things going on with this blade. First of all, it's a Kirby Lambert design in general. You know, you don't see a whole lot of Kirby Lambert nowadays, but the ones you do see, they really are good. And they definitely have a specific design language to just Kirby Lambert. You know a Lambert design when you see it. At least I do, because he definitely has a way of going about his designs. I have seen recurves before in the past from Kirby, and I will say, this is what makes S35 on this knife so nice, is the fact that it does have a recurve, and it's not that strong of a recurve, guys. I mean, we'll take a look at both of them. I know a lot of people aren't huge fans of recurves, but with S35VN steel, a very sharpening friendly steel, I think it's the perfect steel for this blade. You're still going to get decent toughness, you're still going to get really good edge retention, and you're going to get some nice sharpenability that makes it pretty easy to sharpen this blade, even though it is a recurve. You just use a rod, use your Spyderco Sharp Maker, and you're good to go there. Not too much of an issue. I have sharpened recurves like this, and if I can sharpen recurves like this, so can you, because like I've said before, I'm not the best sharpener out there, but I can get it done. Now, the grind on this is very nice, very thin, and a very deep hollow grind. Even though the grind itself only goes up to about halfway through the blade, it gets really thin real quick towards the bottom, and it stays relatively thin. It's a pretty deep hollow grind, coming down to 16 thousandths behind the edge, with a nice amount of belly there that's going to do some really good work. And as nice and thin and slicey as it is right around, kind of this whole area is definitely well into the teens, anywhere from 16 to 18 thousandths down here. You get up to the tip, and look at this tip. This is a chunker of a tip that can really do some good work. You can do a little digging, and I would never recommend to pry with the tip of a blade, but look at that. I mean, this is a chunker, thick tip. It's going to put in some good work, especially that grind and the swedge up there. It's just a very nice reinforced tip with some good beefy thickness to go along with it. That is thick along the tip, but again, you still have that nice sharp edge that's still going to be able to cut just fine. And if you have to really put some force in with that tip, you have that. So really well thought out blade, as well as the swedge here. It just looks really good on top of reducing some drag when you're powering through some heavier cuts. It's going to perform really, really well for you guys. Now, when it comes to the actual jimping and the flipper on this blade, that also has something to do with some very good action and some good feel in hand. Let's get into the ergos on this guy, because this ergo is these ergos are, I think, the best I've ever felt on a Kirby Lambert design, as well as for a knife of this thickness. When you get into a thick knife, a thick handle, it's really got to feel good in the hands, because you really feel it. This isn't like holding a TRM Atom or anything like that. Like, this is a substantial, beefy knife in hand. And the contouring and the smoothness all over the handle, all over the carbon fiber and titanium, the chamfering, it's just done so well. I mean, really what you would expect from Reate. You wouldn't expect anything less. Excellent fit and finish. The carbon fiber in general, no flaws. It looks fantastic. I love how the copper dark matter works very well with the bronze finish. There's a slight difference in darkness, or you can notice a slight difference between the bronzing and the copper, but they work really well together. They complement each other, especially with that darker bronze hardware. It looks really, really good. The clip on this guy, let's take a look at the burlap micarta over here too, because this is patinaed very, very well. You get like this 3D appearance in the burlap, and it's nice and shiny. It almost has a little bit of like a glistening to it. And the more you carry this and hold this in your hand, your oils are going to rub off onto it, and any little dryness you see is going to go away pretty quick. I can probably get it all to go away just by rubbing my finger on it here. As you can see, yeah, most of that's going away. Very, very nice finish. Again, no flaws. Over on the other side, there's just one little tiny flaw up there, which I have seen a lot worse. But yeah, very, very nice fit and finish on these scales. And of course, the transition line, it's Reate perfection. You really don't, I barely feel it on the burlap micarta, and I don't feel it at all on the carbon fiber. It's like there's no line there. It is extremely impressive. Another very nice touch of detail is back here on the back spacer. You have kind of this floating back spacer that is just very nice, and they're all the same material as the inlay material. So you got burlap here and the fat carbon here, and it just looks really good. A very, very nice touch of detail, and gives the handle another element of, just pleasing aesthetics, really. But it looks fantastic in this clip. Now we can talk about this clip, because again, when you're talking a thick handle, a bigger handle, the clip really has to be perfect, because you don't want to feel the clip at all. As big and thick as this handle is, an uncomfortable clip would really be a deal breaker on a knife like this. And I am very happy to say that this clip disappears in hand. It honestly feels almost like a fixed blade, because it is nice, long, strong, good retention. You got some nice chamfering up there, so it's smooth. It feels like it's part of the handle. It is an excellent clip. And again, that's kind of what I expect from not really just Reate, but especially a Lambert design. Because again, you have kind of that thicker, bulkier design language in a lot of his knives. And the man just knows how to put a clip on a knife, where to put it, how to design it up. And he knocked this one out of the park. It is a fantastic handle. And it only gets better when we get to the action. If not better, it's the exact same, which is really, really damn good, because this whole knife is pretty damn good. But this flipper here, so good, so smooth. Again, though, I'm not expecting bad quality from Reate. I'm expecting flippers to fly out with a good, solid thwack, a strong detent, or a perfect detent. And that's what you have here. It is no issue, 100% good to go. And really, for as big as this blade is, it really is a smooth operator. They did a very good job of making the bolster lock access here. Just very, very friendly with that beveling there. You break that lock, you have a very nice solid lockup. Break the lock, you kind of get the stop from the flipper to prevent cutting yourself on that razor sharp blade, and very, very smooth close. And just listen to this. So good. A very, very commanding, fat, satisfying thwack. And what's really nice about this flipper, I think my favorite part about this flipper is the angle at which it's designed, because I've mentioned this before on some other knives. Sometimes the flipper tab, it's either the end of the tab is either parallel with the line of the handle or it goes in. When it does that, it takes away the option to really push button it out there. You can still light switch this and it's really good. But being able to push button this blade where you just put your finger here, pop it out, that is so satisfying to me. That is really makes the action on this knife, it makes everything come full circle. You have a nice razor sharp blade with a great design, slicey belly, ultra sturdy, heavy duty tip, and then you have a handle that just melts into your hand and feels excellent. And then you have the action that is just buttery smooth, great thwack, excellent detent. This is just a really, really phenomenal knife. Overall thoughts are extremely positive. Obviously, if there's one thing I could change, I can't lie to you guys. I would probably get rid of the recurve if there was. That's literally the only thing I would change. I would get rid of that recurve. But again, with that S35, it's so friendly for sharpening. It's not really an issue. If this was M390, he treated it like 63. I'd be like, ooh, it would be a lot harder for me to really want to buy this knife. But knowing it's S35, knowing it's very sharpening friendly and will hold a good edge as long as take a good edge, I really think this is like an ultimate combination. I'm not saying it's one of my favorite knives ever, but I'm saying for what this knife is, it can't get any better. It really can't. I'm a huge fan of this. I think there's a lot of excellent options too in terms of the flavors, whether you want some fat carbon, because there's other types of fat carbon as well, or burlap micarta, or go check them out. The links below. I believe they're all still available, but they're not going to be available for long, because $229 for this and $259 for this, they're definitely going to be moving. I don't know if they'll sell out within hours, but they're definitely going to not be around for very long. Lambert is a very well-renowned designer, and Reate is, of course, a very, very high-end manufacturer. You combine all that with very reasonable prices, it's a home run. Fantastic exclusive from Caviso. Really happy to see some Kirby Lamberts back out there. Let me know what you guys think of this one. Really hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.